Welcome, everyone. This is a very, very, very exciting day. Not because Delhi are playing Chennai, but because as of midnight, which is only a matter of 25 minutes away, Sydney has opened up again. Tomorrow morning, I'll be able to have a shave at a barber, a haircut, everything. We're opened. After 4 months of lockdown, we're actually open. So thank you for that. And now I'm also thankful because I have a kind of blue shirt on, but I have a gentleman with me who is extremely popular and extremely in demand. I have to actually book him, otherwise he's not available. That is Gurkarat Singh Gill, who's a magnificent man. And Kunal, and I am not sleeping. I'm fully awake. Been awake the whole time. I've just been uploading a series of media bulletins and media conferences about the Ashes, which will be in Australia in a matter of months. They've announced the England side, and the England side is without Sam Curran, obviously Jofra Archer and the likes of Ben Stokes, which will be interesting. But I think
there's also one more omission which I'm surprised about. I'm surprised about Oli Stone missing out. I heard Oli Stone's not there. So, yeah, I mean, that is one bowler that they should have kept in the squad, considering how the pitches are. You need someone who can, extract the extra bounce available on the Australian pitches because there isn't that seam or swing movement anyway. And we saw that when India toured Australia as well. Apart from the pink ball test, there isn't much movement available. You have to rely on the bounce a lot more, and which is why the Indian seamers, when they bent their backs, they were able to extract that. So I'm a little surprised that why they don't have Oli Stone. But yeah, I mean, I do sense that Australia will comfortably win the Ashes.
It's far. Maybe Gill. It's because they've got already two Ollies there. They've got Ollie Pope, Ollie Robinson. Ollie Stone will only confuse them. Maybe they couldn't handle having three Ollies in the one squad. No, I'm joking. Yeah, that is another mission. But is it the strongest side? Well, we'll wait and see. I mean, at least they're coming. And we can talk more about the Ashes in a separate event, but certainly Australia will need some concept of practice. I had Matthew Wade on a media conference earlier today. He was meant to play some matches in Australia, washed out, couldn't play. He's going to the World Cup underdone. Then he comes straight back, not that he'll be playing Test cricket, but the Test team won't play against Afghanistan. They'll have virtually no cricket, straight into a Test series. They're poorly underdone, actually, Australia, very poorly. They're going to have a lot of trouble early on, especially against an England side that will do well, certainly. So, today, qualifier 1, the IPL is coming to a climax, finally. After 56 matches during the tournament, Delhi Capitals versus Chennai Super Kings, the winner straight through to the final. Extremely important match. I don't think either side wants to lose. Can we take into the account the form of Delhi and Chennai in the previous couple of matches? We'll talk about that and the selections. But what's your take, Gil? What's your take on this match and the four for that?
I mean, yeah, Delhi do have the team to beat Chennai, and they've done it. They've done it twice this season already. They did it last season too. But we still don't know if Marcus Stoinis is going to be available. Delhi's number 6 and number 7 is an underbelly. There isn't enough batting after Shimron Hetmeyer for the batters batting ahead of him to be completely expressive and go out all guns blazing. So that's a concern. If Delhi do lose 2 wickets in the power play, then they can't be that aggressive, which is something that you would want from the batsman. So that is a little bit of a concern. Hopefully Stoinis is back. But also, even if Stoinis is back, Akshar Patel is not really a number 7. He's done extremely well as a bowler. Just to throw up some numbers, for any bowler who's bowled 5 overs in this IPL, his economy is the best economy rate. If you look at the case of Avesh Khan, for any pacer who's taken 10 plus wickets in this IPL, he has the best economy rate, and he's bowling on all phases. So the quality of Delhi bowling lineup especially lies in the fact that Kagiso Rabada is the weakest link. A lot of teams would say that Kagiso Rabada is their best bowler, but on form currently, Kagiso Rabada is the weakest link of this bowling lineup. So that tells you about the quality in the bowling attack. So that should really make Delhi confident. And hope the openers give a good start. If the openers give a good start, then it's more or less settled. But with Chennai, you also have to account for history. They Delhi have played Chennai twice in the playoffs, once in 2012, once in 2019, and they've lost both times. Both times it was the qualifier too. Once it was in Chennai where Murli Vijay scored that 100, and then there was there was the qualifier two in Vizag in 2019 where Delhi just couldn't get enough on the board. They barely made it to 150 and then lost comfortably to Chennai. So you'd have to say that form and matchup wise, Delhi is the better team. But as we have seen countless times in T20, it doesn't take a lot to beat a quality side. You just need 2 or 3 overs to go in your favor, and then from there on, the momentum picks up and you can fall behind the game very quickly. So yeah, that's how it is. But Delhi should feel confident regardless.
Welcome, Naresh.
Mohammed, I agree.
Manoskani.
Thank you.
What have you got? Hustle, hustle, hustle. What is this? Hustle. So
This is an Adidas.
remind me, Naresh, who you're going for in the IPL.
Sorry?
What is your team in the IPL?
Well, it's all over for me, Mumbai Indians.
Oh. No, I shouldn't be nasty. They almost did it again, didn't they? Almost did it again.
Yeah, no, the entire season was, you can say, below average, So, when you lose more games than you win, then you reach a situation where you depend on other results and then you have to fight off the way they had to get those runs. So it's just been not a good end because these players were to play for the last time together. So many of them would have played for the last time for this franchise. But yeah, it's still the entire journey has been very successful. It's the most a franchisee which everyone envies, right? And wants to beat and don't want them in the playoffs. So that has happened. Yeah.
Look, it's a major advantage. Go ahead, Gil. Go ahead.
When it comes to Mumbai, of course, Rohit Sharma, the captain, deserves a lot of credit and everything, and he's been spoken highly of. But the three title wins in the last 5 years hide the fact that he's been very ordinary and average as a batsman in the IPL. The last time he scored at an average of 30 plus in an IPL was back in 2016 when he averaged 44 and his strike rate was 132. And the last time his strike rate was more than 140 in an IPL season was back in IPL 2015 again when he was batting in the middle order and Mumbai won the final against Chennai. So that is something Mumbai would want Rohit Sharma to improve upon because he's a much better batsman than someone who's not averaged more than 30 and averaged more than 140 in the last 5 seasons. He's definitely a much better batsman.
I think last three, including this, it's been just 127 strike rate, but it's been consistently about 300 runs. That's where he has been.
Yeah, but average is on the average not been 30. Of course, if you're opening, you'll be able to score 300 odd runs because you get that more opportunities to bat. But even averaging 30, less than 30, and average striking at less than 130, it's something which is a concern, and it's actually pulling the team down. Hopefully, in the coming seasons, that is something that's looked at and addressed. And then obviously, Krunal Pandya, this was his worst season as a batsman. This was his, in terms of batting average, this was his worst season. In terms of his strike rate, it was his worst season. In terms of his economy rate, this was the worst season. He averaged 16. He actually averaged. Just let me look at the numbers. Yeah, he actually averaged 14.3 with the bat at a strike rate of 116, and his bowling average this season was. His bowling average was 53. He only took 5 wickets at an economy rate of 8. So that's something, if you have a number 7 who's neither contributing with the bat or the ball, you have a huge hole and it becomes difficult to fix it.
And then the injury I felt a bit that he got a long run. Krunal got a long run this season. Maybe he played a couple of games more. You had a man-to-man in Anukul Roy to look at, a left-arm spinner and a left-arm batter in the middle. That little bit of flexibility was not seen, something which probably Rohit should have considered. Even Jimmy Neesham could have come a little early in this leg, and Cotton Isle should have played all the games. Trying out with Milne and yeah, I think Cotton Isle's bowling style suits these conditions suit his bowling style. So these are the few misses, and especially the losses. Gurkir, the one against Bangalore, 54 runs, Kolkata chasing in 15 overs, that hit the net run rate so hard. Then it becomes too difficult to make a comeback.
I thought sometimes when you win, you don't realize the holes that are there in the team. Now, when MI won against KKR in that game in Chennai where they had to defend 30 odd in 5 overs, Krunal Pandya took 2 wickets. He took 1 wicket, but he only gave away 4 runs of his last 2 overs in the last 5. Now, once he had given that kind of a performance, that gave him a longer run, and it made it difficult for Mumbai to look past him or drop him because he had essentially won you a game. And it's something similar which has happened with Sunrisers Hyderabad as well. It's not that the holes in their setup were not evident back in 2020 or back in 2019. Even in 2019, they had only won 6 games and qualified for the playoffs. So that should have sent the alarm bells ringing amongst the think tank of Sunrisers Hyderabad. But sometimes when you get the eventual result, you just don't look to address the problems that are there because you feel okay, everything's working. Why to change it? And that's been the case with Mumbai Indians this season to some extent, and it's been the case with someone like Sunrisers Hyderabad this season, because it was obvious, it was always evident, even when Warner was at their top form, that they didn't have a middle order. It was evident that they've only had 2 bowlers for now 4 seasons, Rashid and Bhuvi, and this time when Bhuvi was also not in form, they really struggled, and it was bound to happen someday or the other, and it just prolonged one season and made it a very painful them for them.
Look, just quickly, I wanted to digress for a moment. The 4 teams that are out, obviously we've talked about Mumbai Indians here, and Naresh just talked about with you, Gil. To me, clearly the biggest disappointment was Sunrisers Hyderabad. We can talk to death about that, especially around the Dave Warner scenario. He basically decimated the series by his antics, especially as captain, and then beyond that. Punjab, I thought, well, it was frustrating with Punjab. They could have done a lot better than they did, but they didn't do too badly either. That's a way of describing it. KL Rahul was fantastic, wasn't he? As an individual player. Brilliant.
In my view, Punjab was a title-winning team. If you just look at their players, you have KL Rahul, Mayank Agarwal, you have Mohammad Shami. Then also, what people sometimes forget is that the uncapped core of Punjab was probably the best in the last season. You had Harpreet Brar, you had Arshdeep Singh, you had Ravi Bishnoi, you had Shah Rukh Khan, you had Sarfaraz Ahmed, you had Deepak Hooda. You had 6 or 7 uncapped Indian players who could make an impact, and they still. Ishan Porel, who only got 1 game in the last 2 seasons. So, in my view, Punjab is the biggest disappointment of the last 2 seasons because they had the players to deliver the goods. It's just that they were strategically all over the place. You start from game 1 of last season, they played the perfect 11, but they lost in a super over. Now, what has been the pattern with the Punjab team is that they've tried to account for freak instances. T20 is too short a game to account for freak instances. That one loss meant that KL Rahul was anchoring all along, and KL Rahul is one player who should not be anchoring. If he's anchoring, then he should be batting in the middle order. Look at the second phase. Okay, there was one game where Mayank was injured versus Mumbai Indians. Now, when Mayank is injured and you have Gale and Markram in your lineup, why would you not open with one of them? Why would you open with someone like a Mandeep? Why not get in, a Shah Rukh Khan in the middle order and strengthen that? Then you don't start with Ravi Bishnoi. You have 2 leg spinners and 1 left arm spinner who's going to take the ball away from a right hander. Why would you anyway even sign Adil Rashid? Okay, so there have been these baffling decisions all throughout these two IPL seasons, which has led to their downfall. You give the Punjab players or the Punjab team a different management. You give that management to a Mumbai Indians. You give that management to a Chennai Super Kings. You give that management to a Delhi Capitals, and that is a title-winning team. that think tank deserves to be sacked, very honestly, because of how they've managed the players. You cannot be having 7, 8 players of the quality that I mentioned and still be finishing in sixth twice in a row. There's something that has been humongously wrong, and it needs to be addressed correctly for the sake of the franchise, for the sake of its fans, and for the sake of good cricket. Because the kind of tactics that they've deployed is something which is mind-boggling. You can't get your head around it.
Well, what you're bringing up is something very relevant. It's not just the players and the players themselves. It's the way they're managed in terms of both coach, a mentor, the way the captaincy is being given, license to do what they need to do. You're perfectly right. Anil Kumble has a big question mark. For heaven's sake, is he going to be the coach of India post?
No.
I don't think so. I think he's failed in what he's doing currently and should not be given that berth. And look at the way that Brendan McCullum's been up and down. KK are in there, but certainly Trevor Bayliss has been good. But what is around Trevor Bayliss, the Tom Moody's of the world, they have dismally failed, allowing Warner to do what they did early on. Thankfully, Warner was dropped and sacked because of that, but it was probably too late. They're in a diabolical mess halfway through the season. But you're right, the coaching staff is integral. Even the likes of Sangakkara with Rajasthan Royals, great man that he is. I don't know whether he's a good coach.
With Rajasthan, I was, they have my sympathies because it's very difficult to replace the players of the quality of Jofra, Butler, and Stokes. So once you have those 3 big holes, it's like Mumbai Indians losing Kyron Pollard, Quinton de Kock, and a Trent Bolt. Now, how do you fill these gaps? It's impossible. So, even apart from these players, it's not that they did not have replacements. There was Andrew Tye who went back home due to the bubble fatigue in the first leg. So did Liam Livingstone. Then they got someone like Evan Lewis who plays one game and gets injured the another. It's been a story for him for I don't know how long. So Rajasthan Royals in that point of view have my sympathies, but someone like a Punjab, their management really deserves a sack because they had so many good players and still they were ending up. Last season they played a game against Hyderabad where they had Mujibur Rahman at number 7. And this season they had Chris Jordan at number 7. How do you do that? It's hard to make sense of. Really, Punjab Kings or Kings 11 Punjab, the Punjab franchise over the last 2 seasons are a case study on how not to run a T20 team.
Is this true? Amit Shrivastava saying that Tom Moody's expressed himself to be in coaching. Don't do it.
He's always expressed it. He's filed. I think he's been rejected thrice. He was rejected when Ravi Shastri was made the coach. He was rejected when Anil Kumble was made the coach, and I think he was rejected when who was the coach? When Duncan Fletcher also became the coach, if I'm not wrong. So he's already been rejected thrice. Actually,
to me, the best, if you want to call about Australian coaches, if Australia don't get a hold of him, is Trevor Bayliss. He's got incredible respect. Remember how he went with England? He did very well with Sri Lanka. He's a well-known. I mean, he hasn't done well with Sunrise Hyderabad this year, yes, but in general, he's an excellent coach. But who do you think is going to be Indian coaching? Is there any early predictions?
Stephen Fleming could be, or Mike Hesson. One of them could be those.
Mike Hesson.
Mike Hesson.
Hesson.
Okay.
Currently with RCB.
Because he's now worked with Virat Kohli over the 2 seasons of IPL, and they've managed a turnaround because I think between 2017 and 2019, RCB had finished on the bottom twice, and they were 6th once. I think that was that was probably 2018. So from that to manage a turnaround was a great job from Hesson and Katic. So maybe Hesson could be the coach. Maybe. Hopefully he is.
So what you're saying is it'll be a non-Indian coach.
Yeah, I mean,
no, but I think Gurkeet, I think BCCI is open for either. It's not that they are tilting towards a non-Indian, but they're open. I think it's going to be more. And Norman, we have spoken this earlier. It's more about one who is a good man manager, because
Absolutely.
Indian cricket, or rather any cricket, but at least Indian cricket, is lots to do with man management. The kind of players we are having and their own success stories that needs to be managed well when it comes to playing for India. So one obviously who gets along with the current, whoever the captain is going to be, whether it's a separate white ball captain and a red ball captain, but all that needs to be well factored in, and that's what Ravi Shastri brought to the table: his relationship management with the team, the senior players, and how he comes out as a very open spokesperson and in favor of even the smallest of things for the team.
Baram is, I think, having a lend of us. He's saying the BCCI are discussing with Michael Vaughan. I don't think so. I really don't think so.
I think that must be only to get him off Twitter.
All right, so let's go back to the Delhi Capitals versus Chennai Super Kings. I mentioned earlier, Gil, about the form in the last few matches of both Delhi and Chennai. Are we to take that into account, or are we not? Are they somewhat foxing? Have they taken the foot off the pedal leading into this, or not?
There is no reason to not account for that form, honestly. I mean, Chennai have lost 3 games. Whoa, what is also important is the pattern in which Chennai have lost games. They've lost 5 games this season, and all 5 of them have come while defending a total. So that tells you that Chennai bowling lineup can be put under pressure. And like I've mentioned before, they do have the batting depth, but the obvious weakness of that batting depth is that all of them struggle against high pace bowling, and Delhi have 3 of them in at least 8 of them, 8 overs of that for sure, because Kagiso Rabada's, I don't know, Kagiso Rabada's probably developed a love affair with slower balls because he's completely forgotten how to bowl Yorkers, which is very, very strange. I don't know why is that happening, but he's bowling those slower ones and he's getting taken apart, and it's happened 4 or 5 times this season. It happened in the last game. It happened in the game before, versus KKR, where Narayan smashed him. It happened versus Hyderabad in the leg in Chennai, where Suchit smashed him, and it happened in Wankhede, where Morris smashed him. So there's a cause of concern with Kagiso Rabada for sure.
Okay. So, realistically, Delhi Capitals are firm favourites to win this match today. You would have to argue.
Yes, they
would
are.
you not?
Yeah, Norman, and Norman, we need to look at how their openers, both the teams' openers. You're talking about Faf and Ruturaj about 1,000 runs this season against Shikhar Dhawan and Prithvi Shaw close to 900 or a little over 900. So both sides have got openers who have done well and scored a lot of runs. It's the pace attack against these openers, and that is where what Gurkirat is saying, that Delhi has the advantage, of Nokia and Avesh Khan to start off with. Yeah, and Deepak Chahar honestly has been expensive in the last few games. On the India leg, he was really good. He was getting the swing. Here in UAE, he's not getting that swing. Hazelwood is there, the only one who can be little economical. But in the middle, 7th to 15th over, Chennai has done the best. Jadeja, Bravo, and Shardul Thakur. They have been very effective. So so that is where on how well the openers play. Chennai, the last 3 games, the openers have got out in the power play, or at least one of them, which was not happening earlier. So these are few finer things which can have a little advantage of one team over the other. But it's all about the batters versus the Delhi opening bowling versus the Chennai opening bats.
Okay, I'll get more into this in a minute. Let's just assume Delhi wins today, which basically puts them through to the final, and Chennai lose. Chennai will play the winner of RCB versus KKR. You would have to argue that Chennai could actually have a 1-2-3 knockout punch. They could actually fall straight out of the competition. Why? Because RCB and KKR have been on a pretty strong winning run in general, as opposed to CSK. And when you're on a losing streak and again lose today, you're heading down the barrel of teams that are in the ascendancy that you'll be facing. Really, RCB or KKR could well have the measure of Chennai and then progress to be in the final against Delhi. Is that a fair summation?
I think you'd probably against they if current form is to go by, they've not lost a single game this season to RCB or to KKR. But then again, that match, if it happened, if CSK are playing that qualifier, it would be in Sharjah. And I think if between three teams, which is KKR, RCB, and CSK, the stronger side you would have to say probably is KKR, given their spin bowling options, the 8 overs of Narain and Varun Chakravarti, and probably if Shakib's available, because Bangladesh also have to play the qualifiers, so not sure about his availability. So from that aspect, you'd have to say KKR do have a strong chance to beating CSK. But again, the fact is that Chennai have been one of the teams which have always dominated spin bowling. They dominated Sunil Narayan at his peak in 2011, 2012, and all those seasons. So there's nothing to stop them from doing that again. But that pitch is something else. You need someone like a Shubman Gill who's shown that why bat when it comes to batting on difficult surfaces, he's the go-to man, and he's done it so far. Done that pretty well so far in his short career. If you look at it, whether be it Gabba or whether be it the first game in first Test match in Chennai versus England where he scored a 50, or the last game where he scored a 50 again, and he scored that 50 at a strike rate of 130 in Sharjah. If you look at it with some context, on a normal T20 surface, that's a strike rate of 150, 155 at least, if not more. So uh, you'd have to say that KKR might be the better side to play those two games at Sharjah.
Yeah, and yeah, both are in Sharjah. The one tomorrow is in Sharjah, so the team winning tomorrow will stay and play, rather play the next game in Sharjah. So that is the other advantage of having a back-to-back at the same venue. So yeah, it gets difficult for Chennai because if they lose today, then they go on a much difficult track to play in Sharjah against one who has won on that ground.
I honestly can't see Chennai resurrecting themselves, so to speak, if they lose today. They critically need to win today to stay alive. And I know there's a second bite of the cherry with the qualifier 2, but I think they really need to be wary of the fact that these other two teams will have momentum. The winner, at least, will have momentum going through, and that's significant, really significant. I think that to me is a telling tale. But Delhi Capitals, I've said all along, haven't I, guys? Haven't I, Gil? You know that, Gil. You say the same. Naresh, I've said from day one, I thought Delhi Capitals, even though I'm a KKR fan and they're in the finals, I still maintain Delhi will be there in that final and will be in with a great show. All right. I've just read Faf du Plessis has made a statement. He said how big the game is, why we practice and play this game to get a like tonight. The guys are very excited to be here. Batting is about experience and learning. So he's banking the experience factor to be relevant there. That's a psychological mind game, I would argue. They have got Stephen Fleming at the helm, and he knows what it's like to be in the situation. You would argue, even though Ricky Ponting's been fantastic, has he had experience in IPL victory as coach? No.
No, he was with Mumbai Indians back in 2013. He was with Mumbai
As the main
Indians
coach?
in 2013. I think he started as a player in that season. I'm not sure. Naresh might know.
Actually, 2013, Rohit Sharma halfway took over the captaincy from Ponting and then won the first trophy.
Who was the coach in 2015?
And then he got
Mahela?
No, 2015. I don't think Mahela was the coach. Who was the coach in 2015? I think it was Ponting. If I'm not wrong.
2015, yeah, I think then he got into the coaching role.
I don't know whether...
But
Anyway,
2013, he
I
was
think
the captain. Yeah.
Well, Ponting is proving with age to be a potential future, very long-term successful coach. Very smart man, very level-headed, also knows how to motivate, was well liked as a captain of his team. I think he's got great traits. Really do. Think highly of him. When do they announce the Indian coaching role? Straight after this series, don't they?
After World Cup. After the
World Cup itself. Right. Okay. All right, we haven't talked about RCB too much. We'll talk about them probably more in the next few days as their game comes up. But I was rather impressed with the RCB performance. Like they won that last ball, 5 runs for 6. It's quite dramatic, but quite impressive in a lot of ways too. I'm not discounting RCB. I think they've got a good shake at getting into the final if they have to play CSK and qualify too. That's my thoughts. But it's going to be interesting. I've got this feeling, and it's maybe my crystal ball talking. I'm seeing CSK going double punch out. That's what I'm saying. Not based on lack of good teamwork. It's just they won't be. Something's missing. As you said, Gil, we were talking about form coming in to these for the rounds, the first 56 rounds. The way that CSK have finished this has been quite alarming. They've been losing quite poorly or badly, and you would argue that that's probably going to show up even more today and into the last game. We're getting a lot of people joining us. Karan Shai, hello, Norman.
Ponting was the coach in 2015. I checked. Ponting was the coach in 2015. Ponting was the coach in 2015.
For Mumbai Indians?
Yeah.
Okay, that's significant. And you would, but then he moved on to Delhi, but he's taken.
No. I think he took a break. He came to Delhi in 2018.
Okay. All right. Although I'm getting very excited about it. It's been a long 56 matches, hasn't it? 56 games. It's been rather long, broken up into 2 lots. It's been very arduous. Where we're here now. Now we're serious. Now it's the game on the line. Every ball counts. I love the IPL for that reason. Even though we now have 4 teams, we still don't really know who's going to win, do we? Anything can happen here. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and I think more or less the top 3, which when the IPL was suspended after the first phase, the top 3 maintained that, and they're there. I think only Mumbai became a casualty, and KKR came back. So 4.5 months break. KKR was the one who actually has done well since then. So I think we need to go with these 3 teams who have maintained their position, and they maintained the same 1, 2, 3 what they ended the first leg at. It's just that have they peaked at a time where, like as you're saying, Chennai have they peaked, and there's a dip coming up. I was considering those 3 losses in the last game. If not for those wins in the first leg, Chennai would have been struggling.
I still look at KKR on paper, and I do scratch my head a little bit how they've been that successful. Even though they've had a few players.
Norman, they played Lockie Ferguson.
That's pretty significant. You're right. The inclusion Lockie Ferguson certainly.
They don't miss Cummins. That's what he's filled. That's one. And the decision of Venkatesh Iyer. Sometimes decisions don't go in your favor, but these 2 decisions have been the success story of KKR in the second leg.
Look, we just don't know, but I would argue that Chennai will play the winner, obviously. I think Chennai won't win today. They'll play RCB/KKR, and the RCB-KKR factor will be the one that gets through. I think that's my way of looking at it. Okay,
if cricketing merit is to take over and dictate which team wins and which doesn't, you'd have to say that Delhi go in as favorites today. Then KKR beat RCB, because RCB the batting is being carried by one man. It's Glenn Maxwell, and he's due a failure somewhere. Kohli is not doing what he should be doing post the power play. He's starting off quick, but he's then slowing down post the power play so much that he's not even able to score at run a ball post the power play, which is affecting the team. Devdutt Padikkal, as of now, he's amongst the top 10 run scorers, right? But his strike rate is 125, which is the lowest among the top 10 scorers. Virat Kohli's strike rate is 119, which is again, his lowest since the 2012 season. Then there's De Villiers, who we know that struggles against spin early on. So against that lineup, which has Narain and Chakravarti, you'd have to say that KKR have the slight edge, and barring a great knock from one of the three, which is Kohli, Maxwell, and De Villiers, you'd have to say that KKR go in as the stronger side. Also, I don't know. Now they are again. They can't change the team right now. They ideally you'd want that team to play Hasaranga on that pitch, but I don't think they'll make those changes. They'll still play Christian, and in place of Garton, they should actually be playing someone like a Chamira who's in Sri Lanka pacer, who can actually add more dimension to that bowling attack, who can bowl at the death. But
I think
with
both
those
of them are not available now because they have to go for qualifiers. They've been called to Oman, so I think both
yeah,
of them are not available.
that,
Yeah.
that too. So now they are in a fix, and that is why I feel against KKR they might come up short unless, like I said, Maxwell plays another blinder, and who's probably having his best season of the IPL. He's 2 runs away from becoming the third player after Rishabh Pant and Andre Russell to score 500 runs while batting at number 3 and 4. Number 3 or below. He's batted at 4 and 5 this season, and only 2 players have scored 500 runs who've not batted in the top 3. And he scored 650s, out of which 3 have come on pitches like Chennai and Sharjah. So that tells you how much impact he has had with the bat. And then I think in the last 5 games he scored 450s. One against Mumbai, one against Mumbai, one against Rajasthan, one against Punjab, and one against Delhi. And if it not been for that run out versus SRH, he would have probably had 5 consecutive 50s. Now that is something you could play on the flattest of pitches, but scoring 550s in a tournament like sorry, in a format like T20 is impossible because it is such a high risk game. So he's actually been the batsman of this season regardless. KL Rahul might have had the orange cap. Shikhar Dhawan might have done well. Mayank Agarwal, Shaw, all these guys might have done well. But what Maxwell has done is something incredible.
Okay. Just a word of warning about RCB, though, because we haven't seen Abby de Villiers in full flight in the second leg at all. And he could be the one that can pull out things out of the fire in a match like this. Admittedly, being a South African player, they haven't done too well in any form of T20 tournament. So we haven't got a great deal of runs on the board there. And Kohli isn't exactly known to finish well either for the IPL. But I've got a feeling that we might see something out of those guys in the match against KKR. That's going to be a particularly exciting match, to be honest with you. There's a lot more.
Yeah.
They're both going to be on edge because they're out if they lose. Today's match, I just don't think Delhi's going to go for it, and CSK's just not ready for this match. They need better form going in. It'll take something dramatic. Even though they've got experience, you can't have 3 losses on a trot and have any mental state that can be confident, realistically. All right. We've got a few points.
Norman, on the RCB lineup, I think ABD sometimes coming at 6 shouldn't be the case. They should stick to his number 5 immediately after Maxwell, with Bharat in form at 3. I think that this should be their standard 5. They have tried Dan Christian at 3. They have sometimes got Shahbaz they shouldn't be doing that. Dan Christian can be a good death bowler also, and that should be his role more for bowling than requiring as a batter, or leave him for, if required, as a finisher after de Villiers. But with the DDP, Virat, Bharat, Maxwell and ABD, that they should stick to this top 5.
Yeah, I agree. It's proven. Look, there's a few questions. Like Terence Alder and Baran both think CSK is going to win, and Terence is saying that Brown won't be disappointed. Well, he will be disappointed because I'm pretty sure Delhi's going to smack their backsides. I'll tell you now. So that's what we were talking about before with what's his name, Glenn Maxwell there. Look, if Australia's got any hope in the World Cup, Glenn Maxwell's the man. And I still maintain that he should be in the captaincy role for Australia, either vice captain or captain, because he can lead a side. Aaron Finch is still pretty good, but really they need a Maxwell. Australia's not going to make it. They're not going to make it. Did you see the prize money, guys? Quite healthy, the prize money.
Yeah.
1.6 million
Bigger,
US.
1.6 million. Yeah, they just announced it today. ICC 1.6 million. Is it just little over what they announced for the Test Championship final? I think.
Yeah. Look, I'm seeing the ICC have now really understood the financial benefits of a tournament, and they're starting to really come to the fore and starting to match what else is out there, if not beat. They really should be the top tier of payment for any tournament, shouldn't they? An ICC World Cup should knock out any other tournament in terms of value, for sure.
Yeah, the only worry, Norman, is Sharjah conditions. They shouldn't be a spoil sport on a big event like World Cup. What we have seen in this IPL, Sharjah, I don't think should be hosting a World Cup game. That's a personal opinion, but
no, the pitches are going to get worse.
Too
the pitches are going to get worse.
Yeah,
I think
with
Sharjah, because they relayed the pitch, it's not just the pitch. Even the outfield is very slow if you look at it. So I suppose what they're doing is they'd probably water the pitch or something, because they relayed it, and I think that relaying was done with the purpose of getting the pitches ready for the World T20. But with the IPL coming in, probably the pitch was slightly underprepared, and they had to play on these pitches. But hopefully they are. See, 150 pitches are fine, where that there's something in it for both the batters and the bowlers. But 120, 130 really makes it for a frustrating watch, because you watch a T20 game from a point of view where you want to see the bat dominating ball. Test matches you still watch with the ball dominating the bat, but the reverse happening in both the formats really makes it for a poor viewing and makes it for a frustrating viewing. Anyway, now I have to go and join the other channel.
So Gil, your choice is?
Yeah, I'd obviously back Delhi to win today.
Don't say it that way. Say it with great certainty. That's obvious. It's not obvious. Say they're going to win because of what?
Because of what, I don't know, but hoping it's. I'm hoping that Hetmeyer actually plays a big knock. He's done very well. He scored 200 runs for Delhi at a strike rate of 180, and he's played some very handy cameos. I just hope today that he plays a big one.
Okay, so
Stoinis is a great balance, and you have that variety of six bowlers. I think with Ripple and Lalit, what has been tried, that sixth bowler option, big game for them to be part of that kind of an option.
Yeah.
So Gil, your man of the match?
That is very tough to call. Extremely difficult to call.
No, you use your mouth and you say a name. That's not difficult at all.
Okay, so man of the match would be Nokia.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so Nokia, the phone company, is going to be man of the match. I'm not sure. Samsung?
Because Samsung's out. Samsung's out.
Yeah, they've lost battery. Their Wi-Fi is not very good. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about players. Sorry, Alan. All right, Gil, you're going to go.
Bye. Yeah.
Bye.
We'll see you soon again, Gil. So, Naresh, Gil's clearly a deal. Now, who was your second team behind Mumbai? Who's your second favourite team?
I don't have a second team. I stick to Mumbai. First and last.
Mumbai or the highway?
Yeah, right from day one. Actually, that's very interesting one. Norman, I'm born and brought up in Mumbai, so obviously it was automatic choice when IPL started. It's about Mumbai. But then I moved to Pune, and Pune got a franchise. That is where it became a bit tough now. What do I go for? So Mumbai Pune played a final, if you remember, 2017 final was Mumbai Pune. And I was in Pune that time, so I was out with friends. So being in Pune, I was backing Pune, but in my heart, it was obviously Mumbai. And when Rohit Sharma, and that was also, I think, a 1 or a 2-run win, with Rohit Sharma got, Dhoni was captaining Pune. So yeah, that's the only time I felt that, okay, what should I go for? But otherwise, it's Mumbai all the way.
Okay, Mumbai is not there. Pune is not there. Gujarat's not there. They're all not there.
Not there. Yeah.
So we're left with Delhi versus Chennai. You're saying today who should win?
Today, Delhi looked very good, and that's why I feel that if Stoinis comes in this phenomenal balance side, yeah, Delhi looks good. And I would like to see Virat lifting 2 trophies in 1 month. The IPL final and the World Cup final. And I hope it's not Morgan.
Well, I mean, look, it won't be in the 1 month. It'll be in 2 months because one's in October, one's in November, of course. But all right, look, I reckon Kohli's got more chance of winning the World Cup than he does of the IPL. That's my thoughts. I think his World Cup he should really smoke that. They've got such an incredibly full of depth their squad. They really have a lot of players that are in good form. Now, they didn't make any further changes to the Indian squad, did they?
No, I mean, I haven't read anything official, but unofficially I've read that no changes. And only Malik.
They had to make it by yesterday.
No, today, 10th. Today was the last day.
Well, it's now the 11th here. Yeah. Okay, it is the 10th. But you would have heard something by now.
Yeah.
You would think,
yeah,
maybe the next couple of hours, I don't think there'll be any changes. I'm pretty sure.
Only Harshal Patel and Malik have been added as net bowlers. Malik, who was clocking 150 for Hyderabad, and Harshal Patel, I think it's more to do with the slower ones and his effectiveness.
But they've been added as bowlers, aren't they? Umar Malik and Harshal Patel, they're really future players, aren't they?
They are the future, yeah. But no change in the main 15.
Okay, but Pakistan have made some changes. I've seen that today. They've added some extra players to their squad.
3, and now I think the 4th change has happened with Maqsood being injured. They've gotten veteran Shoaib Malik. But otherwise, first they announced 3 changes. Now the 4th one has happened.
The reality is that we shouldn't discount Pakistan for this. Realistically, it's a match in the UAE where they've played a lot of cricket over a long period of time. If anyone knows the grounds in that part of the world, Pakistan do, don't they? They're very, very well rehearsed on those grounds. So I would argue they're a threat. India, England, and West Indies are my other 3. I'm saying Pakistan or New Zealand. That's my 4-5. I maintain that Australia won't make it. I mean, Matthew Wade in his press conference today, they had no preparation yet again for the World Cup. They meant to play games in Australia at Sheffield Shield and the short form version, and they were washed out. They were not played. So they've lost out again. They're going to go to the World Cup with a couple of practice matches, but not really enough to warrant good. And, it's
I think
I still don't know what Matthew Wade's on the side, for God's sake.
There is a practice match against India. I think India has 2 practice matches, one against Australia, one against England.
They're not matches, though. They're not really matches. They're not serious. And it was interesting because Daniel Brettick, the Australian reporter, asked Matthew Wade whether Josh Inglis and he will be rotated or swapped during the World Cup. He got particularly upset by that question and affronted and said, no, there'll be only one that he decided early, which implied himself. So he's not happy that Josh Inglis is in the squad. And quite frankly, Josh Inglis would be a better version of the keeper batter than Matthew Wade. I'm sorry.
Other thing, Norman, I did read, I think Amit Srivastav commented on India not playing in Sharjah. But the issue is Sri Lanka, Bangladesh have to go through qualifiers and they may have some games in Sharjah. And Bangladesh would love to play in Sharjah because that's the conditions they love. And we are talking about who could be the top 4. It won't be surprising if Bangladesh or Sri Lanka also have some upsets in this purely because of the conditions. They would love these conditions. Yeah.
Oh, I totally agree. Bangladesh are a smoky, certainly. They could well be one of the top 4. It's possible, very possible, because we can't discount their form against West Indies and a lesser West Indies side, you could argue, and an Australian side it was lesser, but they still beat them pretty comprehensively, and that would be an element of we can win at all costs. And they look pretty good. They look, I mean, what I'm seeing in Oman versus Sri Lanka, both of those sides are, Sri Lanka's barely getting across the line. Sri Lanka's, oh my God, they may struggle even to actually get into the finals. So that first, the qualifiers in Oman start in less than a week, roughly a week, don't they?
Yeah, I think there are a couple of more practice games going on. I think there is Oman, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh playing some games.
Yeah.
They should be starting, on the 17th, 16th or 17th they start. Yeah.
And then the big match is October 24th, the first match of India versus Pakistan.
23rd is start of World Cup. 23rd.
Yeah, but the 24th is the first game for India.
For India, yeah. So I think there are double headers. It's a double header on 24th. 23rd, I'm not sure whether it's a double header, but 24th is a double header. I think South Africa is playing afternoon game. Not sure against whom, but
Australia?
The second one evening game. I think it is South Africa, Australia in the afternoon, and then evening is India, Pakistan. It's a Sunday. And Saturday start with the last World Cup finalist in England, West Indies.
There's been a lot of discussion about the Chennai middle order. And a player like Raina and certainly Moeen Ali haven't performed very well. And even Dhoni himself has been underperforming. I can't see that changing. I mean, Robin Uthappa's there as well. But there's something not right with the CSK lineup, I'm afraid. And it's becoming exposed.
If you see on paper, it's probably the lineup which bats deep right up to 10. Where the concern is number 4. It is Raina/Uthappa. Both didn't score. They've got their chances. They didn't score. But probably we'll see Raina come back for this game. Number 5, Ambati Rayudu. Should he be batting at 5 or should he be coming late? Or probably he should be coming at 4. And then number 6 is Dhoni. Now that is another concern. Dhoni has not, been in touch. You can say he's not in touch with batting. But with Jadeja, Bravo, Shardul Thakur, Deepak Chahar after him, honestly, should he be batting? Why not Jadeja before him?
So this batting order settled. Rayudu should bat at 4, I'm afraid. That's my 4. I reckon he's shown more capability this series than any other. They've got, with Gaikwad and Du Plessis, they've got a pretty good opening here, haven't they?
Yeah.
Haven't they? So, I mean, and Moeen Ali, I don't know.
I agree with Ben. They should get Pujara in, because if Raina and Uthappa are not scoring, probably Pujara at number 4 or 5 would get some runs.
Do you seriously think they're going to put Pujara in? If
they should have played last couple of games. They should have played couple of last games.
Can you imagine if Pujara walks out first drop? They'll be shocked. No.
Well, at the top, you'll get a shock if he's named in the side.
See, one of these other IPL franchises that are lacking opening positions or thereabouts should be getting Chris Lynn into their stocks, because he was wasted in Mumbai. Didn't get one single game the entire tournament. When he's the sort of player that ranks very highly for me and has not been... You can't have a player like that and not have him playing games. Serious mistake. And it's very frustrating for me to see a player of that caliber.
It was fine. Hardik Pandya didn't bowl the entire season last year, but he and Pollard were the best finishers. You didn't look at Mumbai batting attack beyond Pollard at number 7. But this entire season, the way they have struggled, in the end, you felt that if Hardik was bowling, Lynn should have been in the middle order at number 4 to bat. But they couldn't, because you need at least 6 bowlers to cover yourself well, because the batters were not scoring. And then the change they got of Neesham was actually a very bold one, to drop Quinton de Kock, get Neesham, and then get Ishan back on the top. So last few games, you can say Hardik not bowling was a big miss, because then you could have gotten Chris Lynn and Quinton de Kock both in the batting order.
I mean, look, Quinton de Kock, this close to a World Cup, is better not strategically. I think there's more than IPL going on. There's an element of World Cup going on. The desire to have Ishan Kishan in the Mumbai lineup, well, proved successful. He batted fantastically. And he now has got the form of it. Sky hasn't. And de Kock, I don't think India really wants him to be performing well because he's playing for South Africa. So I never really liked Quinton de Kock as opener, to be really honest with you. I think they made a mistake there. Not because he's not a good enough player. It's not the point. But he is a keeper. And, well, the question is Ishan Kishan or Quinton de Kock? That's the issue they've had. And they went away, and it actually worked. So
But last year, in UAE, I think both got 500 runs, or Quinton was close to 500. Ishan got 516. So and if you remember what Rohit said in the end, that these players, the what they have done for the team, it's getting too difficult to keep them out. And obviously they come in with a reputation also. They're defending champions. This is probably the best batting lineup you see in IPL, this 7. So it does get that difficult. And that's where I felt that Krunal got a much longer stint than he should have, because he was very poor with the bat and ball. Yeah.
So you're suggesting that they should have actually had both de Kock and Ishan Kishan in the team. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, but then Ishan was not doing well at number 4. He just couldn't get the runs once the power play was.
Well, he's a better opener, isn't he?
He's a better opener, yeah.
So this makes me think for the World Cup, because Kohli clearly wants to bat with Rohit Sharma as an opening pair, especially as it gets towards the end of the World Cup. They're going to want to be opening together. I know that. But maybe Ishan Kishan's the answer. He impressed me no end.
Now, if you remember the England series, which Kohli did say it's like a rehearsal for the World Cup, because obviously you're playing England, one of the best sides. He opened with Rohit the last 2 T20s. He had Sky at 3. Now, though Sky is in the side, is he the first choice 3, or Virat goes back at 3 to get Ishan and Rohit to open, and then you have KL at 4? We don't know. It's still unknown, though Virat would want to open in the World Cup. But then if Sky is at 3, Ishan doesn't get into the batting lineup then you need to have KL also in the side.
Well, Ishan Kishan deserves his spot over Sky at the moment, as far as I'm concerned. If I were to pick a team on form, I'd have Ishan Kishan in there, honestly. Yeah,
but at number 4, he didn't do well at all.
No, but then he would be as an opener and put Kohli back down, at least in the initial games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If Kohli goes back to 3, they have an option between KL Rahul and Sky. Now, last game, if you see, Sky actually came at number 5. Hardik and Pollard batted ahead of him. So I'm sure these are some permutations, combinations they're trying, keeping World Cup in mind. Especially Rohit Sharma was, because you have 6 players, including Rohit Sharma, who are part of the World Cup squad. So Rohit Sharma has to take those decisions on what actually the World Cup lineup could be the best. If these guys are there, most of them are from Mumbai. So
we're about to get the toss. How important is the toss? I think if you win the toss, you've got to elect to bowl. That seems to be the theme of the IPL, certainly. So the winning toss should be to bowl first.
Delhi has successfully chased most of the games. They love to chase. Even in Sharjah, they have done well chasing whatever wins. So it's no brainer there. But I'm not sure about Dhoni with those 3 losses. What his thoughts on Dubai is. He nearly defended the small total against Delhi. The last one, if Hetmeyer was not dropped, we could have had a different result.
Yeah, I would argue that the toss is pretty crucial. If Delhi win the toss, they're going to elect to bowl, and they'll be in a great position. And Chennai batting first won't be able to stop a Delhi Capitals side batting second. I think bowling-wise, I don't think they've got it there to keep Delhi under some control. So, okay, Chennai Super Kings have won the toss and have chosen the bowl.
Yeah.
So that's completely backflip what we just said. That's a big win for Chennai. They're going to be happy about that. Don't you think?
Yeah, so now it's all how they start and try to restrict, because yeah, it's going to be important on how well Deepak Chahar starts off.
So CSK have had a bit of, because actually Dhoni hasn't won many tosses either, by the way, which is interesting. It's going to be that's going to be pretty important. So CSK win the toss and elect to bowl. That's a pretty big. That I still don't think it's enough for them to win the game though, but they've got some advantage there. Win the toss and elect to bowl. Any thoughts, Naresh?
Yeah, and as I said, Delhi has done well chasing, so they're going to bat first would also be something which they wouldn't be comfortable with, but
No.
that's how it goes. Toss is something which is beyond you.
So there's no Suresh
Robin
Raina.
Uthappa, no, Raina. Robin Uthappa continues. Yeah.
So Dhoni says, I want to bowl first because most of the guys have felt there's a bit of help for fast bowlers here. And then it goes one pace. But it's not a wicket where things ease down. It's a tough wicket. Same team for Super Kings, so no Raina. Capitals bring in Tom Curran for Ripple. Tom Curran at this late stage, he's barely played a match.
Yeah, so means one Stoinis is not yet fit, and they feel Tom Curran a better sixth bowling option on a track which probably slows down a bit, and not sure how can he do well with the bat. So because they were playing with three overseas the last few games.
Yeah, Punt has admitted to the fact that he would have bowled first, by the way. But he basically has said, "Oh, we'll win anyway." I find that, yeah, as I said, the winning of the toss has played some. Tom Curran, oh my God, that's a strange
Should have tried
selection.
him
I'm
earlier.
sorry.
You should have tried him in a game, couple of games early, because they played with three overseas when they dropped Smith. They had an option between Tom Curran and Billings, but they went with Indian uncapped players who could bowl a bit as sixth bowler. So very big game for Tom Curran to come in. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Okay. So the Delhi Capitals side, I'll go through it, even though it's pretty much not changed. Shaw and Dhawan punt at number 3. Punt at 3. Shreyas Iyer, Hitmaya, Akshar Patel, Ashwin, Tom Curran, Rabada, Norje, and Avish Patel. Yeah, I don't like Tom Curran at all. I find that a really strange selection. I'm sorry. Then Super Kings have got Gaikwad and Duplessis, Moeen Ali at 3, Rayuda's at 4, Uthappa at 5. So Ryan has been left out. Dhoni, Jadeja, Bravo, Thakur, Deepak Chahar, and Josh Hazlewood. That looks like a somewhat better side, but Delhi Capitals still. So Rishabh punts at number 3. Is that normally where he bats?
No, he bats at 4.
Well, they've got him down at 3 in this order I'm saying here.
Yeah, we'll have to see what number he comes. It's normally Shreyas at 3.
So, okay, they brought in Tom Curran for Ripple, but why they brought Tom Curran, is it more for his batting or for his bowling? Because his bowling is bloody ordinary, if you ask me.
Norman, they can't go in with only 5 bowlers in a big game. Yeah, you can't go with 5 bowlers in a big game. And Ripple, they have played with Lalit Yadav earlier, then with Ripple Patel as 6th bowler who can bat a bit. Smith is a pure batter. Billings is a batter. So, and that's where I feel Stoinis was giving that balance, which is not there now.
So you're saying they're missing Stoinis. That's a big loss for them, you would argue.
Yeah.
All right. It does bring the game slightly together. It's slightly more of an, well, I wouldn't say equal, but Chennai have got a slightly better chance now, having won the toss. It puts pressure on Delhi Capitals. But look, Shikhar Dhawan and Shaw, if they get going, we could be in for a big total. Because Deepak Chahar and Hazlewood are not bad bowlers. I'm not knocking them, but they'll suit Shaw and Darwan's batting, in my opinion. And the only bowler that I think will actually trouble Delhi will actually be Dwayne Bravo.
And that's what Norman, 7 to 15th over, Bravo, Thakur, and Jadeja have been phenomenal for Chennai this season. 7 to 15 overs, they restrict the runs, they get the wickets when needed, especially Shardul Thakur. He gets one, he gets another quickly. And Bravo has been very good. He goes on to bowl right up to the death. So, if Deepak Chahar or Hazelwood go for runs, and today we may see Moeen Ali because there are left-handers in this Delhi batting lineup. So Moeen Ali also fills in sixth bowler.
So effectively, Delhi's got 6 bowlers as well. They've got Axar Patel and Ashwin with Curran, Rabada, Norjay, and Avish Khan. They've got 6 bowlers, haven't they? Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of importance in this match, I believe, on Hetmeyer's batting. I think that could be pivotal because they need him there as well as somewhat of a finisher. If they lose, I think that he's an important role to play. I still like Delhi Capitals. Rabada, Norjay, Avish Khan, my God, with Axar and particularly Axar. That's a very strong bowling line. And they're going to be bowling second, aren't they? They're pretty damn good. Chennai are going to find it very less. And Gaikwad and du Plessis have to get good starts, as we know, because really after that, they have been in poor form. If those two get out cheaply, and they could well do so against a bowler Faf du Plessis facing Norjay and Rabada is interesting, isn't it?
He would like to play pace, like Quinton de Kock. He would love to place Rabada, Nokia. Quinton de Kock is no-brainer. You get a spinner against him, he'll struggle. He likes reverse sweep more than any other shots. Same with Faf du Plessis. He would like to play pace, but then you may see Ashwin come in early in the power play, or Akshar Patel. Akshar Patel is doing well, and he'll move the ball away, being a left-arm spinner.
Yeah.
So you'll see Pant.
I think they might keep Rabada and Norjay. They won't keep them away from. They won't let du Plessis occupy the crease against those two. They're going to keep away from him because those two can clean up the rest of the batting order very quickly. So you may see more spin early on. You're right. I think you're going to see Patel Ashwin early on. Don't you think?
Yeah.
And that's it's very interesting. But realistically, look, Naresh, you still have to go. Delhi Capitals, despite not having Stoinis, they have a very strong side.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But the weakness is Tom Curran. Thankfully, they've got a lot of bowlers in that line. They've got 5 other bowlers. They could almost not bowl Tom Curran. Couldn't they, really?
Yeah, but it's, in a big game, you need that cushion of a 6th bowler, in a T20 format. Most of the sides, even international sides, if you look at England, they have 7 or 8 options to bowl with. So just 5 bowlers is a huge risk. What if one gets an injury during the game? So even if 1 or 2 overs from Tom Curran where he's economical, I think Delhi would feel good about it.
This is an interesting stat. Chennai Super Kings have never lost chasing this season. So what are they saying? That they're batting last and they can score a total that they're up against. That's a great statement, but I not this time. Not this time. I mean, okay, this is an advantage for Chennai. It levels the game somewhat. It gives Chennai a possible chance of doing well. But I think the Delhi Capitals bowlers are significant. I really do.
Yeah.
It's a lethal bowling lineup. Avish Khan. We talk about Norjay and Rabada, but Avish Khan's been absolutely fantastic.
He's been brilliant. Yeah. He's been brilliant. And he's in the second leg kept Umesh Yadav and Ishant completely out. First leg they got a game. I think Ishant got a game, couple of them. But second leg, it's all been about how Avesh Khan has bowled.
So what they're saying is Shikhar Dhawan's the key batter for Delhi to get out for Chennai, because every game that Chennai have played Delhi and Delhi have gone on to win, Dhawan's featured quite heavily. And that's what you would expect. The opening batters are generally your dominant players. And they're talking here about the lowest score that has fetched the side batting first a win in Dubai. This leg has been 156. So they're implying that Delhi need to get 156 plus.
Plus, yeah, it would be a good total to defend, yeah. Or other one, keep it below for them, 150 below. If they keep Delhi below 150 or Chennai would be feeling good that they can chase it.
Now, Delhi's batting lineup with Akshar Patel at 6 may seem weak, but it's not, because really their top 5 are so strong. The way that Delhi bats and they dominate by generally not losing many wickets is the key. With Prithvi Shaw and Dick Dhawan, I think GM with Punt coming in, Shreyas Iyer to an extent, and Hetmeyer, they've got a very strong batting lineup early on there.
No, I think Pant needs to bat deep. That hasn't happened. He's coming in at 4. He needs to ensure that he's batting till the end. He needs to make that difference. Yes, Hetmeyer is there, but last couple of games even Hetmeyer was moved around. So Pant needs to look at how he builds the inning. Even T20 you have to build an inning. It's not just come and start hitting hard and then unfortunately getting out at wrong time. So he needs to look at how Ruturaj build his innings, especially the opener against Mumbai here in Dubai, 24 for 4, and then you saw how Ruturaj built it, and that's an example of how innings should be built, and it's time Pant does that.
Read this. This is a good. Amit Shrivastava said something very interesting here. Delhi win. It's the youngest captain to get through. If CSK win, the oldest captain there is. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, DC should really score 170 plus. They should really be putting on a massive total, because that scoreboard pressure will really affect Chennai, especially with the bowling line with Norjay and Rabada and Akshar and Ashwin and the like. But there are 2 weak links. There are definitely 2 weak links. Tom Curran is quite a substantial weak link, I think. Moeen Ali, I think, is a bit of a weak link, and even the middle order of Uthappa at the moment. And I'm glad they haven't got Suresh Raina, because he's been horribly out of form. Horribly out of form. Very interesting. I mean, look, Delhi should win this. It's for Delhi to win. Delhi's form has been good all throughout the tournament. Again, the cold fire, YT is true. It's all about the openers.
I think it's for both the sides. I think both the sides openers have scored loads of runs.
They have.
Delhi openers 900 collective, Chennai openers 1000 collective. So both the team openers have done well. Prithvi Shaw was more effective in the India leg. He hasn't had a big inning here in the UAE leg. That could be an opportunity which Chennai would be looking at early. They know Shikhar Dhawan's experience and the way he is consistent. Prithvi Shaw could be a bit of a weak link to start this game.
But he's a relatively big game player, Prithvi Shaw. I don't know whether there's a problem there. I think he'd be the combination that he's got with Shikhar Dhawan. They know each other's game very, very well, and that's a massive benefit to them, to be honest. The Chennai middle order is my concern, but we'll get to that when they have a chance to play. But Delhi now have to do it from in front, and it looks like Punt did say that he would have preferred to bowl first, because if Delhi Capitals bowl first, they would win this game. I would say, hands down. The fact they're batting first. Yeah, I think there's an element of concern, a little bit of element of concern. Okay, Prabhajam, the prediction is very clear. Delhi Capitals will win, and I still think will win well. I think they're going to get a total of 170, 180 plus, may even go close to 200. The opening pair will be very significant. I think Hetmeyer will do well today, especially towards the end of the innings. And then Chennai have to play well. They will play well early, but then what will they do after that? That's where their problem is. If they get a good start, they've got to finish it. And they're facing a bowling attack that can certainly handle it to the very end.
I think it's going to be close, Norman. It's going to be a close game, similar to what the last game in Dubai was, where RCB got a 6 of the last ball. So I think it's going to be close. Delhi start favourites, but it's going to be a close game.
Do you think these two sides will play together in the final?
Could be.
You would argue that you hope so, because they probably do both deserve to be in the final after their form throughout most of the season. But Chennai's end of season form is going to cause them some grief. RCB and KKR, the winner of that game, will have a momentum on their side, which could be hard to knock off.
Yeah, and they would play in Sharjah the next game. That's the only point is going to be Sharjah. You know, the tomorrow's eliminator winner in Sharjah is playing his next qualifier also in Sharjah.
So that's a big benefit.
Well, looking at how the conditions have been in these three different grounds, Sharjah has been probably the worst. And if you can get your combination right and have an advantage, you know what needs to be done there. So
Rabbitohs TV says punt will go bang bang bang. That's definitely Steve Maven talking there. That's his words.
But bat deep. Do that right till the end of 20th over, not just for 2-3 overs. You know, that is what we need from punt.
Exactly. CSK will be playing their 23rd playoff match today from just 12 seasons in IPL. Pretty impressive. Chennai have been a very regular team, yes, there's no doubt. But I just don't think, a bit like Mumbai, I think their steam's out of the sail a little bit. I think some of their players have probably just passed it, namely Dhoni. See, Dhoni's a strength and a weakness at the same time, isn't he? Really? Dhoni's position in the side is a strength and a weakness. Strength of his understanding of the game and his history and his experience, but his form is a weakness.
Yeah, and that's what he shouldn't be playing Dhoni the batter. He should be Dhoni the captain, and I would still say he's the best keeper in the world today. Still, he's the best.
Well, he's batting ahead of Jadeja, for example.
Yeah, he's listed that way, and he has done that, and that is the concern. With number 4 Raina or Uthappa struggling, number 6 Dhoni struggling, that is where Chennai is missing out on getting better scores. Jadeja has to be coming, at least at 6-5 or 6.
And look, I'm going to say this. I think Josh Hazlewood is actually a weakness as well. His T20 international experience and IPL experience is not as pronounced as other Australian bowlers, certainly like a Pat Cummins. Josh Hazlewood can bowl well, but he can also be predictable with what he bowls. And if you work out his line length, you can charge down and get him and clobber him, because he bowls a predictable length. And if you know how to play around it, I think there's a chance. So you're suggesting that with Delhi batting first, that they will deploy the spinners of perhaps Moeen Ali early, do you think?
Could be. Shikhar Dhawan, left-hander, is also there. Prithvi Shaw likes to attack, but he may just give his wicket also. Yeah, could be Moeen Ali. Yeah, and it could be he's the only one, right? Otherwise, you have Jadeja as a spinner, and then Bravo would be the death bowler. He comes in mostly around the 10th over, and then Shardul Thakur, Deepak Chahar, and Hazlewood. So probably 1 over each from, or 2 overs from Chahar, 1 from Hazlewood, and then you see a spinner come in the power play.
Yeah, I think it would be I would actually think about a spinner early on as an opening. I really would. I think that I just feel that you need to break it up, because Prithvi Shaw and Shikhar Dhawan they love their pace. They love having the ball come onto the bat. So, yeah, all right. I see Delhi Capitals putting on a big score. It gives a different twist to the game, but I can't help but see Delhi winning this well. I think psychologically they're very strong at the moment. Chennai must be suffering after having had 3 losses. I think it's a pretty strong position for Delhi to be in. And if Delhi win this, I then say Delhi's going to win the whole thing. That's my thoughts.
Yeah.
If Delhi wins this and wins it well.
Yeah, sorry? They don't go to Sharjah to play. They play in same in Dubai, so that's the other thing to look at. Yeah.
I do think we're looking at the winner of the IPL here, the winner of this match, and more so Delhi. And I even see CSK departing, and maybe a KKR and RCB making the final against Delhi, and Delhi winning that as well. Although, RCB could turn it around. I don't know. I just think that Delhi's going to be the winner right through now. Pretty strong feeling for that. But the proof's in the pudding. They're going to have to do it today. They can't do it tomorrow. They're going to do it today. So that's the real decision-making process. All right. Any thoughts on the women's game? They had a game here at the women's game. They had the unfortunately, India didn't feel very well, and Australia won the match. They kind of looked really good in the first match, but it rained out. They lost an opportunity. Had that not rained out, they may have won that match and then made it very, very exciting for the rest. But they blew it. But very commendable.
Yeah, second match, actually, you go to see they came back well. India 81 for 9. They went on to 118 for 9. And then Australia was in trouble till McGrath, right? She scored today also. So yesterday and today it's all about her. The way she has middle order has been very, very strong. Australia, yeah. But yeah, yesterday they were in trouble. Australia was in trouble. India could have just pulled out a thriller. Lost by 4 wickets. Again, it was, I think, the last couple of overs they gave a lot of runs. India, 118 was a small total to defend.
There's no way that you can't say Australia ran away with this tournament. India gave them a nice, good fight in the test matches. They won an ODI. They played well the first T20. They did a very good job. They should hold their heads up very high with this tournament, albeit finished now. But they should hold their head. They're very much up high. So, look, Delhi Capitals, we mustn't forget, won 10 of their 14 matches. Chennai won 9. So did RCB. And Kolkata only won 7. So, on the basis of what we're seeing there, Delhi Capitals, and Ricky Ponting is another aspect of that. He will be significant. I think Steve Fleming's pretty sound, but I just don't think I think Bravo and Dhoni are somewhat past their best, and we need them to do something dramatic. Yes, they could, but I can't see it happening. I think that Delhi will struggle. Sorry, Chennai will struggle getting a total of 180 plus from Delhi. That's my thoughts. Yeah, as you said, both the Eliminator and the Qualified Tour in Sharjah, which wouldn't suit Delhi and wouldn't suit Chennai either, for that matter. No, you're right. The teams 3 and 4 have got an advantage on Sharjah. They'll have played a game there, won the game, moved into the Qualified Tour. Really, I'm seeing an RCB/KKR getting through to play Delhi in the final, and CSK bouncing out. I'm sorry to say. That's my thoughts.
So the game's all because of how Sharjah has played, in this leg, how Sharjah has played. It's not a balance between bat and ball. Honestly, Sharjah is quite poor. I would rate it as poor, and that's where I feel World Cup being hosted there, few games. It may just be a bit of anticlimax if there are low scores.
Okay, so really, so it was Punt who flicked the coin up. Dhoni called, and he, basically had him. So Chennai has beaten RCB and Sharjah earlier, but yeah, it's not going to be relevant now. Interesting how they've got Akshar Patel and Ashwin on the side too. That's going to prove pretty important on this.
Yeah.
Norjay Rabada, they've been fantastic this tournament. Avish Khan, it's a pretty damn solid 5 there. Tom Curran,
on Norjay and Rabada, in the first leg it was one of the two, either of the two. Both were not there in the bowling lineup. But here now in the second leg, both are playing, but Rabada has been a bit expensive. But Avish Khan and Norjay with the new ball have been simply amazing. So Rabada probably also could be a weak link where Chennai would look at scoring against him.
Yeah, but he can also pull a rabbit out of the hat and play extremely well as well. So that's
yeah.
I got a feeling we're going to see Delhi both bowl and bat well today. Well, they're going to bat first. Something's not totally right with Rishabh Pant. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't got my finger on what's wrong with Rishabh Pant. He hasn't really he hasn't done it for a while. He's really taken the game by the scruff of his neck and won it. He's not done that for a while now. I wonder what the story is. What do you think?
Coal-fire YouTube. Yes, I agree with you. I mean, I feel equally bad about Mumbai not making it. Conditions got better of our ability. Yeah. But yeah, on Rishabh Pant, that's why I feel that he needs to bat deep. He comes in, he needs to say, "I'm going to bat right till the end," and he'll get those opportunities to score fast. Not try to score fast in the first 2-3 overs and then throw away his wicket. So I think that's the key, because he's going to play a key in the Indian team at number 5 also. How he manages to finish. So yeah, want to see Rishabh Pant do well.
So the umpires are going out to the middle now. I see. There seems to be a crowd. It's not a big crowd, but there is a crowd there.
Yeah, 50% I think they're selling now, and it's on the top tiers. They're not selling the lower tiers of the seats, only the top tiers. I think Dubai has ground level 1 and 2, so 1 and 2 are being sold 50%, and they're trying, if World Cup they can take it.
I think it's a great venue actually.
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah. Dubai is good. Abu Dhabi is very good, but Abu Dhabi, I experienced when there was a test match in the afternoon, so hot. Australia, Pakistan was playing. So,
oh my God. You want to get in an air-conditioned corporate box, I'll tell you.
I was there just for about 2 hours. Yeah.
Both Prithvi Shaw and Shikhar Dhawan, they're the key, in my opinion. They're the two that we need to see, really. But the most curious, Moeen Ali's warming up, by the way. Although he's throwing his arms around.
He may just come in quickly into the power play. Second, third over, we may see him.
Moeen Ali's an annoying bowler. I wouldn't say he's a good bowler, but he's annoying. He can annoy.
Yeah.
So Prithvi Shaw's record, he's played 52 matches for 1,227 runs. He's scored 9 50s. His strike rate is pretty impressive, 145. That's pretty good. Can't knock that.
Shikhar Dhawan, sixth year in a row, he scored 400 plus. Shikhar Dhawan in IPL.
Look at his record though: 191 games, 5,741, 46 50s, and a strike rate of 127. That's pretty damn good for an overall record. He's got a whopping amount of experience. To play close to 200 IPL matches means you're rich. I hate to say it, but it's true.
Yeah, and most of his success came for Hyderabad, but yeah, he requested to be moved to Delhi because that is where he belongs. Before Hyderabad, he played for Mumbai also.
Well, he has 2 daughters, I believe, and they live in Melbourne. And I think he's estranged from his wife. Hasn't he separated from his wife?
Yes. They have officially separated now, yeah.
So it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to Chahar's opening the bowling. It's pretty hard to keep a family in Melbourne and be playing all over the world for India. That's for sure. So they're sticking with Deepak Chahar.
Yeah.
Actually, Shikhar Dhawan's maybe a person I could have used in the Indian squad.
Oh, they've opened up the stands. Normally, if you see the ground tier also has spectators today. Otherwise, they had a cover there completely. They opened it up.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting because oh look, Shikhar Dhawan gets going, gloves off.
Norman, I'll
Very
take your leave.
significant early overs here.
Yeah. I'll take your leave, Norman.
All right, Naresh, thank you very much for coming. We'll talk, get you involved with whatever you can be involved with from now on, okay? Seeing your
Sure,
team's
thanks.
out, you should have lots of time in there.
Yeah,
All right,
well,
Naresh.
preparing
Thank
now,
you.
get into the Indian jersey now soon for the World Cup.
Oh,
Yeah.
not yet, not yet, not yet.
See you,
All right,
see you,
Naresh, thank you
Norman.
very much.
Thank
Ciao, ciao.
you. Bye-bye.
It's great having both Naresh Manaskali and Gurkarat Singhil. They're both great, knowledgeable men. One favours Mumbai, one favours Delhi, but they're both very discerning, very intelligent men, and it's very impressive indeed. So on we go. Chahar is bowling the first over still against Darwin's facing it. Darwin takes or tries to go for a single and doesn't make it, goes out to short point. I reckon we'll see some fireworks. Last couple of deliveries in this first over. Yeah, Abhishek Agarwal, yes. Has Pakistan made 3 changes to the squad? That's correct. Paul String, he retired in the 90s. Okay. Paul Sterling of Ireland. Okay. There it goes. A slashing shot, but didn't quite pierce the field. But yeah, there's definitely some intention there. Dhoni's a great captain. We all know that. But his own personal batting performance has been wanting. And if ever there's a day when he's going to need to bring it out, it's today. Chahar has looked very good. Dhawan gets a single. Quite respectably. Sarfraz Ahmed, Shahnaz Dani, and Azam Khan, Kasud, and Mohammed Azam. Okay. 3 players I hadn't heard of. Amit Sol. Richard Illingworth, good umpire. A little bit conservative for an opening over so far. Only getting 3, maybe 4 off the first over is conservative to say the least. So Soab Masgood, Malik Zim, Fakar is a really good player. Pakistan side's pretty good. It's amazing around the ground at Dubai. That was basically surrounded by sand like at first, but now it's built around like there's no tomorrow. In fact, it was quite a dramatic difference with the way that stadium was surrounded by sand when I first went there. It was all on its own. It was quite a way away from the rest of the city. Now the city's encroached on the stadium. Impressive. Josh Hazelwood's only played 11 matches, 8 wickets, accommodated 8. Not spectacular by any means, and is a weak link in this team. Even though he's played a lot of international cricket, I would see him as a weak link. Very nervous start from Delhi. Yes, Abhishek Agarwal was quite unlike, they have no real aggression. It's more aggressive from Prithvi Shaw, but still no runs. Kohli, Shaw, Chahar, Bairstow seem to be some of the more significant players at the tournament. Do you think that Dew comes into play in the second week can source some? No, I don't think so. Let's look, that ball's gone well over the slips. It's hit a 4 from that. That wasn't a great shot. No, Dew won't be a factor. Shashaw attempted to pull it and it went over the slips. Still 4 runs though. Not saying well. Hazlewood has performed extremely well anyway. Well, yeah, but if they judge his length, because he doesn't change his length, move up or down the wicket, you can play him. Shikhar Dhawan's none for 8 off 2, none for 9 off 2. It's not spectacular. They'll put the foot on the button there in a minute and really go for it. It'll be interesting. Prithvi Shaw, we know he can go. He can still really go. No, Hazlewood one really bad match against Royals. Yeah, look, in general, Hazlewood is, you can get at him if you just get over his length. Predictable length means you can change your length. Well, that's gone wayward again. This looks like he's got away with that again, and he's got a 6 out of what is virtually the top edge. Luck's favouring Prithvi Shaw. Pretty ordinary short ball though from Hazlewood. Should have went to the deep mid-wicket boundary, but went over back of fine leg there. As a ball, it was definitely too short. It deserved to go, or it was meant to go, but it went the other way, but it still went for 6. So none for 15 off 2 overs. That helped, that 6. Deepak Chahar's coming on. No, not convincing, but still was a 6. 6 is a 6, I'm afraid. That's 7.5 of each over. It's picking up. It could throw Hazel a little bit. Shikhar Dhawan's getting Prithvi Shaw on strike. It does look a little bit promising. Deepak Chahar coming on for. Pretty sure getting away with it here. He's got another 4 off what is virtually an inside edge, but that's okay. Pretty sure chances he's luck and gets away with it, and he will reap the benefits. Let's have a look here. Prithvi Shaw, well, he's had a lot of under-19 experience at the highest level and certainly does deserve his place in this Delhi side and even the higher honours. Oh, that was a beautiful shot. That was his best shot. It was a back foot punch a la Steve Waugh. Very, very impressive. Very impressive. It's Shikhar Dhawan. Sorry, it's pretty short, but if Darwin's there as well, get him going, we could be in. That was a magnificent shot. Beautiful shot. Absolutely. That is class. That is Tendulkar-esque. That's Sehwag-like. Beautiful shot. Steve Waugh, Ponting. Beautiful shot. Showed great class. Now that he's got himself a bit of an eye in there, watch out. "24 runs. Interesting. Very interesting. So I've got a media release there from both Matthew Wade and also Chris Silverwood about the Ashes. It's not about the England squad. We'll talk about that a bit more later, but that's going to become relevant. Even though an Indian audience should still be very interested in the Australian England series. It's a lovely shot, and he looks like he's got it through yet again. The fine leg is up, and it's an easy 4. Fine leg. Look, Chahar and Hazlewood have bowled a lot of leg side stuff. There's a fine leg up. There's a fine leg up. You don't bowl down leg side because it's an easy clip, and off it goes. It's happened now. Shaw's done that a few times. Another ball which is easily picked off his hip for another 4. The fine leg's not back. Either you have the fine leg down there and then bowl there, that's fine. But Prithvi Shaw show. 25 off 12 he's got. Could go to 10 and over. Another slashing shot there and he's got another 4. Prithvi Shaw's beautifully back cut that. 32 off 3 overs. Now we've gone up to 10 and over from a rather conservative first over. He's just motoring now. 32 off 3. Now the issue is they like the spinner to come on early. I watched the Wade one on your channel so much insight in that interview. Yeah, lack of talent, a lack of preparation. That's what I would have heard. Don't actually go to spinner because I think he should have opened with a spinner actually. Either Moeen Ali or who's the other spinner they got? They should put their spinner on. 29 off 13 balls. Shaw's motoring. We haven't even seen Shikhar Dhawan yet, really. And as I expected, you change the length of Hazlewood. You dance down to him, and you take it on the half volley. Hazlewood's not changing his length or line, and he's just clobbered back over his bowler's head with a grace of his. None for 36 or 3.1. These two are showing the class. So that's the thing. Predictable metrodome bowling of Hazlewood, you can move out to him and get him on the half volley. And that's exactly what's happened here. Predictable. Hazlewood is very predictable. Have to agree with that. Oops. Well, then having said that, though, Darwin's just nicked the ball to Danius there, that keeper. Rather half-hearted shot there from Darwin, to be honest. That's a fairly strong start. They could have easily gone further on it. Good ball, actually. It must have been a very thin edge. Hazelwood isn't Abhishek Agarwal. Hazelwood isn't McGrath type because he's actually copied him. He's actually emulated him, which is a bit boring. It's okay. We've got Shaw still flying there. Shreyas Iyer's got him. He's looked good too. Well, you can't knock that. It was a good ball, really, and he got an edge to it. That's probably the disappointment. It's going to be interesting to see when Punt comes in, if he comes in at number 4. Yes, very interesting indeed. This is the finest of Nicks. Very fine neck. Very. Should I mean it covering IPL norms? Yeah, they are. If they are, certainly are. I mean, there's a lot of talk about the Ashes today, especially because England have announced their side, the squad, and a couple of Australian interviews as well. I'll do a media bulletin on that. That's a good point. It's been a very good over. Hasn't been a run scored of it, I don't think. Wicket falling and 2 dot balls. They're not running a single there? Gee, I thought there was a single there. What town? Shubman Rathore, who am I supporting most? What do you mean in the IPL? Well, I've always been a KKR fan, but I think Delhi Capitals will win this. Well, no, I do think DC are going to win, not because of Smith necessarily, but more so that I think they're a better balanced side. But I think KKR is my favourite from long back, so that's my way. But I'm still thinking DC will win it. I'm glad KKR are there, but I don't think CSK will, and RCB will be challenged the next match. If Delhi win this, they go through, and they'll probably win it. And the opposition will be probably something other than CSK. It'll probably be an RCB or KKR that'll go through past CSK in the next match to play against Delhi in the final. That's my prediction. See, Tom Curran, oh, Jesus. Rick Tech, I do agree IPL's not as big a favourite as Test cricket. Yeah, I do prefer Test cricket, no doubt. Shardul Thakur, is he coming up? Looks like he has 60 matches, 64 wickets. Economy rate at 8.83. Will be interesting to see what happens. It was a very significant toss to win for Chennai. They've given themselves a red hot chance now, but Delhi can still do it. Shardul Thakur can bowl well, but it can also be expensive the way that Shaw handled the previous over. And I'm right, the first ball has gone for a 6. So Shaw is in pretty damn good form here. He's on 35 and is motoring. 35 off 14 deliveries. Prithvi Mishal. So this is where he certainly played this beautifully. A beautiful shot. Absolutely beautiful shot. Picked it up magnificently. Great timing. Well, the key now is Shaw. And now he's got gaps everywhere because they pushed the field back so quickly that he's already on 40. Is he on 42? Or wrong? Score's 43. He's on 36 from 15. I've got to get going too. Well, he played a good shot, didn't quite get through the field. And brings Shaw back on the strike, which is significant. Nice shot. Great fielding. Was that Jadeja? I'm guessing it was Jadeja. Yeah, it was Jadeja. Who else would fill that well? Not many players. That was wide. It has to be wide. It has to be called. Oh, he didn't call that a wide. Now that was pretty damn. That was pretty damn wide. Danny Dust didn't want to expose spinner in power play, but he clearly missed a trick by not containing Shaw. True. It's going to be interesting. $63.84 is 100. Another big shot. My God, Prithvi Shaw, 42 off 17. He's absolutely taking them apart. Very significant. Prithvi Shaw's at the end. We're going to see 200. Beautifully. He's playing. That was a lovely shot. Lovely shot. It was very, very Tendulkar-like. Beautiful shot. Shardul Thakur was just the speed that I think Shaw wants. Ooh. It was edgy. $50 off 5 overs. It's on track for 200. Significant though. We got his fingers on it, but it was too wide. You could argue drop, but it was pretty damn big distance away from the keeper. Well, it was catchable though. It was catchable. So Shreyas Iyer would be better off just giving Prithvi Shaw the strike. Or going for it too. . 'Cause 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 ' Haven't got his measure. No, it's a full stretch. Very, very difficult chance. Punt was relieved. Pretty good fielding there. Had he hit, he would have been out. Trace Eyes looking a bit awkward, not quite getting any timing going there. Not like pretty sure. Oh my God, where'd that go? That did not go where it was supposed to. Anything would be caught, and it is. Very poor shot from Showside. Did not look in at all there. Now, will punt go in now? Ball's well. It did come a little bit, and that was a shocking shot. Gaikwad's caught that off the bowling of Hazelwood. Shreyas was there for 8 deliveries for 1. Pretty poor. He's not looked in good form at all. Akshar Patel is going in. Yeah. This is a bit of an advancement. Akshar Patel going in at 5. Not sure. The holding punt back a little bit. Don't know why that need to do that. It's at a stage of the match with 15 overs to go. That should be the right place for punt to come in, really. Not sure what Patel's going to do. Is he going to have a good old crack at it? We'll give Shaw the strike. Shaw holds the count. They lose Shaw, they're in a bit of trouble. Akshar Patel, I don't know why Akshar will not hit my. Yeah, exactly. Or punt himself. And he's played a reasonable shot there. Now, this is where we get some importance. How will Shaw tackle Hazelwood? Because if he gets on top of him, then we're going to see fireworks. No, it was an awful shot. Wasn't an easy catch for Gaikwad, but he took it. Let's have a look. Akshar Patel has played 108 matches for 939 runs at 850. He's a strike 126. It's commendable, but it's not exciting. It's not telling me he should go in early. Well, they lost a bit of their momentum there. They only scored, I think they only scored 1 run off that over. No, that's not good, is it? Jeez. All right, guys, it's coming up for 2 hours. I think I might let you all watch this. So at this stage of the match, Delhi Capitals are some 2 for 51. Judai's is coming on now. We'll see what happens. We'll give one over to Judai's, shall we? Slightly important stage of the match, actually. Judai's efforts here will be significant. Axar's not significant enough a player to be playing against this, so really Punch should have been in this, or Hetman. They've jumped a little bit early. They should have had those two guys in there. Axar can certainly bat, but yeah, he's not quite the same as Punt, you would argue. Not impressive. Axar's going for it. And he's gotten through, has he? Yes, he has. Sloppy fielding there. It's 4 runs. Bravo. Well, people missed that. Looks like a score of 200 is going to be on the cards, and it's a matter of whether the Norjays and the Rabadas can defend that, and I think they can. Let me get there first. It's worth sticking further along this. Two for 60 off 7. So over 8. 24, 32, 40. Yeah, it's about 8.5. Still pretty good, but they want to go more than that. They want to push it to 200. $200's the total they want to get. DC still needs to score something. I think they need to score 200. The way I'm gauging this pitch, if they go at the current run rate, they'll score 171. If they escalate to 10, they go to 190. So they'll look towards the 190 mark. That's what I think they're going to do. 12 and over make brings it to 260, and that's probably a bit too far-fetched. But 171, they're on target. They get that. Molinelli now. Here's a man I would be tearing apart. See what that was actually there. That was a ball I would have thought was right in the slot to go straight over mid-on, to be honest. Some beautiful shots being played. I think the idea behind Axar is to rotate the strike and stop further damage. Okay. Maybe you're right. I'd be taking one step down the mow and over the mid-off, mid-on boundaries. Get him off his game and then keep going. Two for 64 off 8. Pruthi Shaw's 48 and looking good. Axar solid on 8. Still got Punt and Hetmeyer to come in. Maybe they're another couple more overs than they want to see them go. Punt, Hetmeyer, Tom Curran, not impressed. Bizarre selection in this crucial part of the tournament. Oh, well played. Played through the gap. That's his 50. That's Pruthi Shaw's 50 off 27 balls. Very significant innings. Very recent. Now, realistically, he's got to go on now and score 100. Keeping well wide of his off stump. He's just whacked him beautifully through the square leg area. Jesus. Pruthi Shaw can bat. Don't worry about that. Sure, looking dangerous on the signs for CSK. It is, but they've got to keep going. They can't stop now. They've done the 2-minute 30 timeout breaks here now, guys. So we'll look at this. Pruthi Shaw certainly deserving of his score so far. We look back to Chickadawan, looks steady, got out to Nick behind. Shreyas Iyer was all at sea with 1 off 8 balls. Akshar Patel's come in and been quite steady, given the strike to Sean is working. So there's probably where we're looking at there. What do you think, guys? Certainly seems to be the case. Sneakers authentic Aussie. Sorry. So Delhi will score between 160 and 170. I'm hoping Quinol end that they actually get more like 180 plus. That's what they need. They need 180 plus to really put the screws on Chennai, which the bowlers will. We know they will. This is a qualifier, a semi-final of sorts. The winner goes through to the final. So you need to produce your best here, and 180 plus is to me, somewhat of a minimum, to be honest. For sure. There will be a mini collapse later in the innings, do you think? Yeah. With Delhi, you got Hedmar and Punts who have got limited overs. They've got a fair bit there to go. One over 94, not those. What is Zaxa doing in number 4? I mean, Stowe, I agree. 3 seconds left on the timeout. God, that's too bloody long. This time that's way too long. Yeah, it's a must-win game here. Must-win game for Delhi. Oh, well, my phone's just gone on haywire there. Battery running low, so I don't have to watch the game. What we might do, guys, we might end it there. So, again, great to watch Heavy Wall on. We've got the next game, which will be the eliminator between RCB and KKR. The loser is out. The winner will play the loser of today's match, which I'm saying CSK, and that's qualified too. And the winner that goes to play the final. So let's see what happens. Then he will reveal their WT20 jersey on the 13th, the jersey itself. Okay, fine. But yeah, at the moment, we've got a scoreline that reflects pretty sure on good form. All right, guys, we'll see each other tomorrow. Okay, so all the best. View, like, and share the post. At Norm Koch is both my Twitter and my Instagram. Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnick. There's the YouTube channel. Hit the notification button. You'll be notified of any future presentations. All right. Thank you, guys. Signing off now. Talk to you tomorrow.